I have this sensibility about me that whenever I see a lot of people taking the same track, I take the other one. When I turned 6, I saw New Hope, and that was the departure. That was like, okay, I understand now what I need to do in my life. I just need to focus and hone what I'm doing so that I can work on films when I finally get out of here. You know, honestly, I was kind of planning that at the age of 6. I was like, how do I get out of here? Okay. Oh, this is good. I'm sorry, I'm totally going to bore you with this, but I got an honorable mention for a poster contest because the parents who judged my piece thought that my parents drew it. It was a heartbreaker. And my dad, he took a major role, but also a back seat to, you know, teaching me how to draw. Like, he was really hands-off, but he kept feeding me all this material to inspire me, like from the design staff library at GM in Warren, Michigan. It'd basically be every night he'd bring home books. A lot of my comics had to do with camping because I loved camping, but this is on the back of stationery that my dad brought home from GM. Industrial Design Project Review. I remember the sweltering, you know, summers in Detroit. It was just like nasty and hot and humid, and it's just like, ugh. I remember going down to the basement, because the basement was like a classic Midwest basement where it was like a refrigerator down there. And just, I had my workshop and my table with all my models, and I would just like lose myself in this stuff. This one, I built this one. This thing was so cool. It was all the inner workings of this nuclear sub and the missile launchers and all the, where people lived, where they worked. It was so cool. Everything mechanical and like that submarine or any model kit I would build, I began to understand kind of, okay, here's the shell, here's the power plant. Having grown up just building and crafting and kit bashing, taking 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, 30 kits and just cherry picking the best parts or whatever you need. You're just looking for a part that is gonna fill this gap nicely, or making something completely different out of a bunch of other different stuff. It translates through to what I'm doing today. Back in 1995, I think we saw some nose cones or some wings sticking out of, you know, behind a fence somewhere, and oh my God, we suddenly were just like in Candyland. That was early. That was the first time I discovered it, and there was a big fence. It was only open during the week, so I was like, wow, when am I going to go there? And then it turns out the guy who runs it, Ted, who I know very well now, and we're good friends, but at the time, you would call him up, he'd be like, yeah, sir, I'd like to buy some airplane parts, you know, like, and he'd be like, do you know the serial codes? And I'm like, no. And then he would just hang up.
It's about a concierge doctors in the Hamptons. But anyway, they went into this big, are you filming me?
A year later, and I got the gig on Star Wars, courtesy of Doug Chang. He hired me into the art department up at the ranch, and me and some fellow art department folks were like, oh, we gotta go there. Now's our time to, you know, now we've got an in. We've got the backing of Lucasfilm, you know. So my friend in the art department, Ellen, she called Ted up and through her diplomacy got us in. You remember the shot at the end of Indiana Jones where they put the Ark back in with all those crates and it just disappears? That literally was one of the warehouses. Nose sections from B-24 bombers with with the gun turret intact and the seat in there. It was like, that's what dreams are made of. At the time we were working on the pod race sequence, and those were basically just kind of kludged together, kit bashed designs in themselves. So we were doing this kind of life-size kit bash with, you know, airplane parts and letting that stuff inspire it. Then on a personal level, I was just so taken by this California airframe. I would spend as much time as I could there, like spend a whole morning just looking at stuff. It was kind of like the stuff that my dad brought home from GM, like the magazine stuff. It was just like, again, this kind of moment where you have to sit and you have to take it all in, and it will inform what you design for the rest of your life. You know, you just have to do that. I think I'm more drawn to the super kind of fussy little mechanical bits that you find in the warehouse. I guess what they would call, you know, computers back in the day. Things would figure out trajectories and where to drop what when. I would actually like to unscrew the face of the thing and see what's inside it, and probably draw that, you know, because it's the guts of this thing that is super appealing. That's the smell of victory. Basically had a 7 or 8 year time frame where I wasn't doing anything digitally. Then someone from Alias Wavefront approached me and asked if I wanted to, you know, test drive SketchBook Pro. Honestly, the layers and the ability to go back over something, that kind of iterative process, was really kind of a revelation. It kept up with my line, which was the most important thing. You need the ability to kind of separate something out and throw it over here and continue here and then throw that up over here, and then it kind of is like kit bashing, actually. You're drawing a bunch of bits and you're combining them here and here, and then the layers kind of allow that kinetic inventiveness to happen. I think what I love about it is it's like a stripped down interface. I use probably not even a tenth of the tools that are provided. I like the pencil, the marker, the erasers, and then the color palette, and make everything else disappear, because I just don't want anything else. And it's fast because it's so stripped down. I don't even modify paintbrushes or anything. I don't believe in that stuff. That's just how basic I am. So, you know, I come from a place where it's okay to be alone and just invent and express yourself. I can imagine like teachers and, you know, academic folks, you know, expressing kind of some concern about, oh, Jay's not very social or interactive, you know, like, and I'm glad, you know, they didn't take any kind of evasive actions. Like, that's not what I needed. I just needed to create and express myself, which, you know, thank God I'm still doing. And it was the basis for what I do today.